Yes, people, what's going on? We're back, man. We're back. Listen, live on a Monday today. We've got a new debutant here today. We've got man like Ash. You
Come
get
on,
me,
bro.
Ash? We say, my boy, you good?
Come on, broski. Thank you for having me, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to get on your channel for a minute. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm here.
People, you're going to be seeing more of Ash on the channel. Obviously, my channel's mainly been Chelsea so far, but big Arsenal fan. He knows his stuff. He's got his channel out at the minute as well. Close to 100 subs now, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Just warming up, man. Obviously, I was doing the whole TikTok thing before, but then obviously everyone was saying, jump on a YouTube. So slowly building, man. Baby steps, but we're getting there, man.
Yeah, no, therefore. So people, like I said, his YouTube is in the description. Make sure that you're subscribing to him. We've got a familiar face with Jem today. We saying, Jem, you good?
Yeah, all good, G. All good, man. Just the same old, different day. It's very hot today. That's why I'm sitting in a vest. So, yeah, it's heating up like the Euros. Heating up like the Euros, isn't it? Heating up like the Euros.
Facts. And yeah, people, this is literally just a last minute stream that I thought I'd put together. Because I've seen a lot of talk on players like Foden, players like Kane. Still Southgate. You know, that's the theme of today. Still Southgate. How can we get the best out of this team? Because for me, this team is full of ballers, you know, and it feels like it's going to be another generation that's going to be wasted. You know what I'm saying? Last time England won anything was 1966, which is time ago, bro. Time ago. So, you know, we really need to fix up. We really need to fix up because on paper right now, we've got a really good team in it. So we're going to chop it up on that. We'll speak about, you know, some of the players that we've seen in the Euros that would like to see at our clubs or even just in the Premier League. Games that have stuck out so far as well. Because, yeah, I think there's been a lot of goals scored so far in the Euros, to be fair. So we'll speak about that. But boys, how you lot sort of finding? Actually, no. Before we go into that, let's go through the chat real quick because we've got a few people here waiting already in the house. Big up CFC Ernie. Big up Don. Where are you, bro? Listen, I was trying to fix my mic and that. A few technical issues, but we're here now. And big up Andy up the Chels. Big up, my bro. Big up, man. But listen, man. What do you not think of the Euro so far? How have you thought of it so far, Ash?
To be fair, it's been how I've kind of expected it to be fair. Like the majority of the main teams have won, except for today, obviously Belgium. Belgium got spun, but obviously 2 disallowed goals. But the majority of the teams have won. I don't feel like a lot of teams have played well, but competition football Euros, you don't have to really play well, man. It's just about getting the points on the board. If you can get 3 or 4 points in your first 2 games, you can kind of cruise in your third game. So I think it's gonna more heat up towards the latter rounds of the competition. But yeah, man.
What game would you say you've enjoyed like the most so far? There's been some good games.
I would say, to be honest with you, you know what? I think the Germany game, because I feel like they really set the tempo of how the competition's going to be. Everyone wasn't too sure about their team. Everyone was like, yeah, are they bringing this player? Is he going to play good? Can they connect? Who have they got here? But they come out first game and slapped corn straight from the off in it. So for me, that was the best game for me.
Nah, facts. And listen, what I like about Germany as well, yeah, they've got some pure footballers right now. You know, pure footballers need to come back, people. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of just stats and GA and whatnot. GA, listen, is key in football. Yeah, but I love players that can please me on the eye, you know what I'm saying, pause, and at the same time, you know, still put up the numbers as well. Because we grew up on the likes of Sanchez, you know, Hazard, you know, so many players where they're putting up numbers, but at the same time, they're very good on the ball. You know, they're showing that natural ability. And that's what we'll see with Musiala and Wirtz. And Musiala, unfortunately, he was at Chelsea for me and Jem. He was at Chelsea.
How much did you not sell him for, Don? How much did you not sell him for?
Bro, it was like minimal. It was like the tribunal.
Like 180k or something.
Yeah, it was like the minimal amount that teams pay, man. Was it the tribunal thing, Jem?
It was like compensation or something like that along those lines.
That compensation thing, innit? And yeah, man, that was happening. That was what was happening in Roman's era. A lot of Chelsea fans think everything was rosy. Listen, we didn't really give chances to a lot of the youth team players. We might not have even seen Reece James reach the levels that he reached if it wasn't for the transfer ban, because we just never gave any opportunities to youth like that in reality. Do you know what I'm saying? But Jem, what have you thought of the Euro so far, man?
I agree. I think it's been very predictable. There have been some good games. I actually enjoyed the Italy and Albanian game, to be quite honest here, because they went behind and then it was about how can Italy respond, and I thought they responded pretty well, and they showed a bit of class in their, you know, in the way that they played in that game as well. I was very happy. The game that's made me the happiest so far is Belgium losing, because Lukaku, hold that is what I say every time. Man's running around celebrating, asking the guy to jump on him and everything, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden you see that handball, and I'm just laughing, man. I'm just laughing. Any other player.
We need him to perform, though. We need him to perform, bro. We got to get rid of this guy, man.
He did perform. He scored and it got disallowed. There you go. So, you know,
What did you think of his performance today?
Typical Lukaku, Meaty just doesn't move, just stands there like a potato, holds the ball up well. And even the goal, if you look at the goal, it wasn't actually good movement. It wasn't good movement. It was a good pass. It was a good cross to his foot. He didn't even have to move. He literally just had to just put his foot through it. You know, and listen, look,
Openda should have started, man. Openda should have started, bro. When I was doing my little scouting report on Sesko, bro, Openda, every single goal I'm seeing or assist that I'm seeing, he's involved in some way, and he's rapid as well. He's got better end product than Doku for sure. I don't know why he didn't start.
Yeah, I think it's fraudulent. Like people like, what's that guy's that B-Tech David Luiz at the back? You know, when you go on Wish and you order David Luiz, and that's what you get. That Fars guy, like he is awful. That guy, absolutely awful. And then Carrasco as well. Like that guy he's always been dead. How is he still playing?
He went over to China. And
early.
Like he went out early, but Carrasco fell off ages ago.
Belgium, when you deep it, have Belgium been one of the most overrated teams like that we've seen over the past few years? Because they had like a golden generation and that, but really and truly in that generation it was only really Hazard. Doku was cuckoo. No, listen, Jimmy, he did well, he did all right, but Openda's got better end product than him for sure. That I know for sure, bro. You know what I mean? Doku was good. He was like doing what he normally does in the league and that, yeah. But Openda, if he played today, I reckon that he would have created better chances for the attackers.
Yeah, but you know what with Openda though? Yeah, it's like he is a good player, but it's hard to judge because he come on after Doku had been burning them out for the whole game. Obviously, Doku didn't have the greatest game, but he does what he does. His end product isn't great, but he's gonna spin you every single time. Or if he doesn't, he's gonna try again and again and again. So I feel like when Openda come on, it's almost like the fullback's a bit, he's a bit lethargic, he's a bit tired. So I do hear what you're saying, but I would love to see him start and see if he has that whole gameplay from minute 0 to 90 if he plays the whole game.
Yeah. I think he can walk away today knowing that he done his job. He done pretty well, man. What did you not think of KDB today as well? Because boy, this guy, I'm just seeing him just lobbing it in, basically doing what Trent was doing yesterday. Jeb, you're shaking your head, man. What did you think of his performance today?
He looked as disinterested as Mudryk did today for Ukraine. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like off the ball, the guy wasn't even running. He was just walking back. He was watching, especially in the second half. It's just like, I don't know. I just feel like with the Belgium team, like their golden era is pretty much gone. And I just feel like, they've got De Bruyne and they've got Lukaku and some other like individual good players. But, you know, you look at their defense is shocking. Like they're just absolutely shocking. But De Bruyne is a good player. We all know that. We know he's a talented player. But when it comes to play, doing it for your country, just bottles it, man. Yeah. It's not the same. It's just not the same. Some players are better for clubs than they are for country. And I think De Bruyne is one of them players by far.
It's true. It kind of reminds me of what Hazard was like for us in the Champs, Gem. Like he was good for for Belgium. Obviously, he was amazing. Like in this era that we've sort of grown up, I'll probably say Hazard's been their best player. Yeah, but in terms of Champions League, he never really turned up like that. He just never fancied it. Same sort of thing as KDB, man. The mentality is just not there for Belgium. I don't know what it is. But yeah, that country, I just feel like they always put them up here, but in reality, they always end up, down here. Do you know what I'm saying? But let's get into the.
Sorry. Just on the KDB thing, man. I think he's easy to slater. I feel like watching him today, like he looked like a man that was just, I don't want to say tired, but he almost looked around and that whole generation that he's had is gone. And you could see him like getting the ball and trying to tell that fast guy, get up. He's trying to get the ball. He's almost trying to dictate the whole play. So I feel like, I don't want to say he bottled it, but I feel like, yeah, man, that Belgian team stinks now in comparison to that Hazard and all that team. Because you know what it is? Like Lukaku, yeah, like let's not beat around the bush. Like Lukaku is an awful striker. So Kevin De Bruyne is putting it on the plate for him a couple times, but his movement ain't great. His finishing ain't great. There was even one time he tried to go around the keeper and it's like his first touch was so awful, and I'm just like, Lukaku never changes, man.
No, it's facts, man. This guy is just never. He'll never fix that touch. Honestly, he'll never fix that touch. And yeah, big up Abdi as well. He says it without Hazard, brother, Don, they look average. It's true, bro. Listen, Belgium, it's a shame because they should have done a lot more of that team that they had, man. They had Vertonghen, they had Alderweireld, they had obviously Hazard. You had KDB. You even had his brother Torgan Hazard. He was quite decent as well.
Even their defense was good back in the day, man. Their defense was decent. Vertonghen, Vermaelen, Muni.
Vermaelen as well. I even forgot about him.
Yeah,
You know
and he
what
was
I'm
good
saying?
for Belgium. So
But yeah, man, let's get into the bread and butter, people, man, because yeah, England again yesterday. Obviously we beat Serbia, but it was just an underwhelming performance. You know, from when I saw the lineup, I just said, yeah, man, it's gonna be long watching this. I even said to these lot in the group chat, because I'm in the Chelsea group chat of Gem. Yeah, I was like, bro, let me go get some Wingstop so I can actually enjoy something whilst watching this gross football. I'm not gonna be enjoying what I'm gonna be watching. Do you know what I'm saying? I knew it was gonna be just a lack of fluidity. That left hand side, Kieran Trippier and Foden. You know what I mean? Jude Bellingham. I know he was our best player yesterday, yeah, but in the 10, too heavy for my liking. He's not a natural 10. You've got better options that you can play there. You know what I'm saying? On the right hand side, cool. Saka came back in. I thought he did pretty well at the beginning of the game. To be fair, see, I'm smiling. I thought he did pretty well.
this one here, this one here's for the memory book, man. Continue. Let me not even interrupt you, my bad.
Bro, I thought he did really well. Hold on. What's up with my connection there? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're
You
good.
just spoke about Saka, it went funny.
I know, man. What's going on, man? You started speaking about the Starboy and your internet started messing up. You done it on purpose, innit?
I'm back. My connection was moving crazy, yeah. But yeah, like I said, that right hand side was looking good at the start of the game. To be fair, like Harry Kane, he wasn't involved in the game at all. But then that's where I got to look at the setup, and there was just a lack of creativity. You know, people complain Harry Kane's dropping in deep and that. He don't need to do that if he's getting chances created for him. You know, over the past few seasons with England, he's been our main person that we go to create. You know, we had Rashford and Sterling that would run off of him and would find them in behind and would go and, you know, crush the box late. But at the minute, I just look at this team and there's just a lack of cohesion, you know, a lack of chemistry, just a lack of mentality as well. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, bro, this is probably the best England team that I've seen, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, I'm old enough to remember David Beckham and all them lot. But honestly, these guys at the minute, yeah, they are up against nations that are not really up there. Like we've just said, Belgium are falling off. You know what I mean? A couple of teams are falling off. I know a couple of them are still, you know, on the rise again. But in comparison to what the England team were facing before, those sort of players that they were facing before, you know, there's not that many world-class players anymore. Do you know what I mean? But what did you think of the game yesterday, Ash, man? And how do England sort of kick on from yesterday? Because it honestly feels like we lost that game. Honestly.
Yeah, so for me, I've kind of been getting a little bit of backlash for my comments, and I'm going to go into it. So I feel like the performance wasn't great, but at the same time, I'm not angry at that in terms of it's group football. You win the game. It doesn't really matter how you perform. It's about getting momentum and building on it. So I feel like England done what they were supposed to do. In terms of wanting that like fluid football and it's England, I don't think you're really going to get that until like the quarters, semis, finals, if England do get that far. But I also want to talk on Bellingham quickly. Somebody said to me, and tell me if I'm going crazy, Bellingham bossed the whole game yesterday. I'm not saying he didn't play good. But did Bellingham for you boss the game? Is that what you call a midfielder bossing a game? Or is that what you call a midfielder just having fun with it and knowing the opposition isn't great, knowing he can do the tick-attacker, knowing he can spray the ball? What do you call it?
I would say it's a hard one. I thought he had a good game. But again, there were certain decisions that he was making on the ball. Like there was a certain time here when he was in the corner and he could have literally just played it back to, I think it was Trippier or Foden. And he's trying to do all the skills, trying to do all the flair.
Foden,
you know what I mean? There were certain
the
parts of the game where that's it. Yeah, there were certain times where his decision making could have been better. I think he was our best player. But overall, like in that second half, he wasn't really at it either. Like no one was in that second half, and we'll get into that in a little bit more detail. But
did he boss the game?
I don't look at that game and think he bossed it. I don't really look at it like that. I'll be real.
Okay.
I think it was a game of two halves, personally. Yeah, my opinion on it.
What did you think of yesterday?
Was Ash finished? If he's got anything else to say?
No. That was it. Sorry.
Yeah,
in terms of the performance was good, but yeah, like England done what they were supposed to do. Nothing special, but they got the 3 points. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm never excited watching England, and I don't like this manager. I think he's useless. I don't think he's good enough, and I think where he's got us so close in the past, and all right, you could kind of say it was on the players, some of it at the end, but I just don't feel like system-wise, he's utilizing the players and their qualities well enough so that we're dominant more through longer periods. Like Don said, I just feel like we kind of either start well, or we find ourselves later in the game and we kind of like have that moment and we start creating. And listen, look, we have you can see it. We've got young, good talented players. But when you start your lineup playing Foden off the left, and I know people want to like really dig at him. Don't get me wrong, I thought he done some of the basics wrong yesterday, like really bad. Like just passing was quite bad to watch the eye. But when you're playing someone that's naturally been very good in his position as a 10, and I know obviously Bellingham, you're not going to shift Bellingham out the way at the moment. It's never going to really balance the squad. And with Harry Kane as well, like people want to go at Harry Kane, but like Don said, if you're not creating for him, if you're not getting him involved, what is he actually meant to do? I think he had one touch in like the space of 30 or 40 minutes, which is embarrassing. Like the guy's just running around, and not just that, like we're hoofing balls up there. All right, they're playing a strict 5 at the back, and these guys at the back are units. They're just throwing him around like nothing. Like, do you know what I mean? And he's not Ivan Toney or someone like Watkins. And like this is where I look at Southgate, because we was okay first half. And listen, don't get me wrong. This is the thing with Bellingham. If you play him in that 8 deeper, maybe next to Rice, I don't think he arrives in the box and scores that goal. But because he's in that 10 role, he's timing his runs and he's finding himself in the right position to finish. And that's where I think he's at his best. Don't get me wrong. But then you go into the second half and they kind of just worked this out. And they were shutting us down a lot quicker. They were moving the ball better. And it was about us kind of like showing what our next option was. What can we do differently with what we have?
We were waiting for a moment, Jem. Very similar to how we were playing with Poch. We were waiting for a moment.
This is where I hang Southgate, because he sits there and he leaves it and he leaves it and he leaves it. And he doesn't seem to have this like reaction to go, right, let me change this. And when he does make changes, don't get me wrong, I thought Saka had a good first half, but I still think he went missing the second half. I think Bellingham went missing the second half. I think Foden was missing most of the game. Don't get me wrong. Why didn't he just take Foden off the left, maybe drop Bellingham in or whatever and put Watkins up front just to stretch him, because Watkins will run, just something different. Do you know what I mean? Try and get over the top in behind with Watkins' speed and directiveness. Like, just do something a little bit different. But he doesn't. All right, he brought Bowen on, who I thought done okay when he came on for Saka.
Yeah.
But he's got this way about him where, like, and you saw it at the end, he took off all his attackers just to defend. And it's like, you can't do that against the better teams. We ain't defensively good enough. Our defense is actually quite bad when you watch it. Yeah. Even though I thought Mark Gay had a very good game yesterday, by the way. I thought he was very good.
He was good. He was one of our better players yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. But they're not the type of team to be able to allow constant attacks to keep happening on them. They're not that strong. Yeah. You know what I mean? You watch it. So you need to try and eliminate that by using the quality that you have further forward, so that we don't always get caught out where the defense has to be called upon all the time. And that's where we always go wrong. We go into this little, like, when we lose control, we go into this little cove and we're not controlling the game, and all these players are just running around like headless chickens. And then it's all about the defense trying to defend. And that's going to hurt us later on when we play the better teams. And it will again. It just will again. I can see it happening.
No, facts. And that's why I'm a bit confused right now, because I'm looking at it and thinking, now is not the time to be experimenting. All these years we've been asking, yo, Gareth, try something a little bit different, because this team's looking stale and there's certain players that can't get into this team. Look how long it took for Grealish to finally get a call-up. And when he did, it was in the Euros, and he was like coming off the bench. He wasn't even starting, because he was ripping guys at Villa. We was begging for him to get called up, and eventually he was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna listen to them and see what they're saying. You know what I mean? He again yesterday, he starts Trent in midfield. Listen, Trent on the ball he's got world-class ability, but he is not a midfielder. It's very clear to see when you're watching him. He's not comfortable with his back to goal. Even on the ball, he needs about 3-4 seconds to work out what he's doing next. He hasn't got that natural instinct that you would have as a midfielder in that position where you're constantly scanning. Because when he's playing at right back, you can basically see the whole pitch. You get the ball from the centre back and you're looking up and you can see the whole pitch. When you're playing in centre mid, bro, you need to be a lot more aware. You need to be a lot quicker when you're on the ball. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that dynamic just didn't work, because you've got Trent looking up, trying to do the worldy ball. You've got Foden not trying to run in behind because he's not a left winger. You've got Kieran Trippier holding the width at certain times, and then Foden's behind him. That whole left-hand side was basically redundant. There was nothing that was going on that side, And then you've got Jude Bellingham in front of him. I know Jude is a good box crasher. Like, we know this. But end of the day, we have a fluidity issue at the minute because the team's imbalanced. So if your team isn't fluid, you're going to struggle to create chances. So how the hell is Jude Bellingham going to be crashing the box if we're not creating some good chances for him? But Ash, what did you think of Trent's Trent starting in midfield yesterday and his overall performance as well?
Yeah, I think England are never going to see Trent Alexander-Arnold in centre midfield ever again. I don't think he's got the mirrors to play there. I think that, like, you hit the nail on the head. It's like at right back, he can see the whole game. Also at right back, he's not getting pressured as much. His first touch, he was almost every time he got the ball when there was a little bit of pressure on him, his first touch was awful. He was almost doing touch tackle every single time. And then when he did,
he's one of them guys, yeah. You know, like them guys that are trigger for the press. When you see them, you're like, wait, like, yeah. That's what guys were doing to him. I could tell.
Yeah, like he was literally rattled. So, and then it was like when he did have space, all he knew what to do was to spray the ball. He didn't really have like that burst of pace to beat a man or a little bit of trickery to get past someone. All he knew was spray the ball, and it was like, yeah, man, it's not the time to experiment. But then again, I think this is Gareth's last tournament, so I feel like that's why he is experimenting. I feel like that's why he is saying like Grealish, you can't come, and Trent, you can go in midfield, because I think regardless of whether England win it or not, Southgate is going to be out of here anyway. So that's why I feel like he is doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like, why are you doing this now? Why are you doing this now? Because a few people have said, oh, he was brave to start Trent. I don't think it was brave. I think it was stupid. He had better options there. You had Mainu there. You had Wharton there that can play in that role. Even Gallagher, in all honesty, can play in that role better than Trent, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And I don't even like Gallagher in that pivot. You know what I'm saying? Them two in that pivot is scary. It's scary. And against good opposition, like you're saying, yeah, when he gets pressed, it's going to be long. There's like 3 times I'm seeing him getting pressed and he's just losing the ball.
He was getting pressed yesterday against a team that are not even that great, to be fair. So, yeah, I feel like against like the Germanys, the Frances, the Spains and that, I feel like, yeah, there's no way that Gareth is going to play Trent in that centre midfield. I feel like that's the first and the last time. I feel like Liverpool might try it now. Obviously, there's no Klopp. I don't know if Trent's trying to do this whole, I'm not a right back no more. You know that Ainsley Maitland-Niles thing when he said, I'm not a right back, I want to be a centre midfielder. Like, bro, for me, go right back and, you know what I'm saying? You're good at right back, but yeah, Trent,
I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because big up Abdi, says here, Southgate, another mistake he did was playing Trent in the midfield. Either start him at right back or bench his ass. That midfield against better side, England will lose Rice and Trent, and that combination won't work. Listen, for me, I've said the best, if you're going to play Foden on the wing, right, or left wing, which I don't like seeing anyway, the best person to play in that role, people will laugh, is Adam Wharton, yeah? And the reason why I say that is because he is the best midfielder in this squad, in this team at the minute, who's able to play in between the lines, yeah? And literally play what they see. Mainu, when I see him on the ball, he's quite good, but even his decision-making at times isn't the greatest, because again, he's still quite young. Off the ball, his awareness ain't great. You know what I'm saying? He finds himself in positions where he's ball watching too much, you know, and even when he's trying to chase a man back here, when they're on the transition, it's like he can't be bothered to do it. You know what I mean? He's got a similar temperament to Maitland-Niles. Ash, someone told me this the other day, yeah, that he's similar to Maitland-Niles off the ball. And honestly, now that they told me that, I actually see it. He's a bit lazy off the ball. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, Declan Rice, when you're playing for Arsenal, you normally have Jorginho next to him who can progress the ball, because we know with Rice, he doesn't like to just play that pass. Same thing as Partey. He's the person that progresses the ball. We haven't got that person that will just get the ball in the midfield and play it in between the lines and play it to the 10. And for me, that's Wharton, because I've been seeing him doing it for Palace. I know he hasn't been here long, but Jamie, if you remember that game when we played against Blackburn, this guy was balling out against us, bro. Balling out against us. Left foot, right foot, very comfortable. And off the ball as well, he's good at reading.
Everyone was balling out against you lot, though. I just want to throw that one out there. It didn't matter who you was playing against. Every centre midfielder was having a field day over there.
It's true, because there's a lot of space in that midfield, yeah. But you know, you just look at a player and you're like, yeah, this guy's good. He's a classic centre mid, classic English centre mid. No, buzz cut. You know what I'm saying? Black boots. He's not here to play. He's here to have, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I even think you're better off playing Gallagher there. I would think you're better off playing Gallagher in there over Trent, to be quite honest with you, because at least he can kind of do the job a bit of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we know, listen, Chelsea fans, we know we don't like seeing Gallagher in the pivot. Trust me, we've been saying it for a very long time. But if you're going to ask me, if you're going to put Trent in there or Gallagher against, say, Germany or Spain, I'm putting Gallagher in there. I just strictly am, because he'll get about. And
we saw what happened. We saw what happened to Gallagher in that pivot when we played Brazil, bro. The tech was too much. It was too much.
What I would say though is he's slightly more improved now, isn't he? I'm not saying he's better now. To be like, I just think he's kind of adapted his game a little bit more into playing in that role a little bit better than what I've seen him. If that makes sense, I'm not saying it's 10 times better, but you know, he's still good, still better than probably Trent. Because Trent on the ball, when he got intercepted yesterday, the guy didn't even look left or right. He just received it and didn't even think about what was behind him. And that's when he got caught in the first half off the ball, because he hasn't got that awareness in midfield that you need to have to be able to constantly, do you know what I mean? Like Rice, for example, always looks over his shoulder, knows where everyone is, knows that once he gets the ball, he's going to play that ball straight or over there. Or Trent's one of these guys that kind of needs the ball, but needs a bit of time before he knocks a blooming 30-yard ball over the top. Do you know what I mean? That's what I feel anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And what he needs as well to play that pass, he needs movement. But again, when the team's lacking chemistry, lacking cohesion, they don't know when to make a run. Like Foden, he's not used to playing on that side with Trippier behind him. He's not sure of the trigger when Trent should play over the top. You know what I mean? Because he's in an uncomfortable situation. But on Foden as well at the minute, because I'm seeing he's getting a lot of slander online. We all know Foden's a top player. You know what I'm saying? But for England, we haven't really seen the best of him, in all honesty. Most of the time when we see him for England, he's below par. You know, he's been played right wing, he's been played left wing. Only recently we saw him down the middle. But how do we honestly get the best out of Foden? Because I feel like we're wasting this guy, Ash. How would you want to see Foden in this team, and who should we play around him to get the best out of him?
Yeah. Shall I be real? Yeah, and I could be wrong, but I think for as long as you've got Foden and as long as you've got Bellingham, I don't want to keep on going back to this Arsenal thing, but it was almost like, remember that time when we had Ozil and Fabregas was available and Wenger was like, I love Fabregas, but I just can't play with both of them in a team. In other words, I feel like that's the same thing with Foden and Bellingham. I feel like they're both similar in a way of like, they both like to play central. They both affect the game high up on the pitch. They both got main character syndrome in a way, in a good way. Like they both want to get the ball and be the same, like have that same limelight. So I don't know. I think that Foden's got to be dropped, to be honest with you. I think Foden might have to be a person that comes off the bench and produces that magic. But I feel like why you're trying to put him out on the left just to put players on the pitch for the sake of it, I think you're killing a whole attack and you're killing him because he's not doing nothing. And you're better off putting like even an Anthony Gordon or a Bowen on that left just to give you something different, because Foden wants to come in from the left, wants to come in and attack the space in that cam role. Bellingham's there, and I don't think you're ever going to get the best out of Foden while they both play.
They roam the same areas, don't they? They roam the same areas.
The same place.
So this is my thing with it. And this is the only way I think, in my opinion, you get Bellingham and Foden into the team. You have a left back, an actual left back. And when you have an actual left back, that means you're going to have a left back who's going to be able to overlap him, which means that he will occupy the width and allow him to occupy the space in between that inverted forward area, sort of where the striker is, and that left hole. That's where he's good because he can run into pockets and receive and then create from there. When you're asking him to receive the ball out on the left with no one running behind him and him having to maybe take on a play or be direct and play balls, no, it's not going to work. So you need someone over there with him that's going to occupy the space that will pull players away from him and allow him to attack the space in the middle, but not in the Bellingham area, which I agree. I think yesterday you saw him they're both too close to each other. My instruction to him would be, look, you're on the left, occupy the spaces in and around that. I'm going to give you someone that's going to overlap you, which is going to create that space. You just need to link with them and just attack that space and try and find balls into the box with Kane and Bellingham. Like that's what I would do with him personally. Like that's the only way you're going to get him out playing well off the left, because if you're not dropping Bellingham back into that 8 role, which he's probably not going to do, and putting him in the 10, there's nowhere else for him to play other than if Saka gets injured, then maybe he goes on the right. But then you've got Cole Palmer as well, so let's not forget that. Like
this is the thing.
And Bowen and others.
I struggle to understand how his brain thinks because. Again, I know Jude is a good box crasher, but we're just lacking so much creativity. And if you look at Foden, you look at Palmer, you look at even an Eze, if they play in that 10 role, they know how to play in that 10 role because they've got the natural ability to do it. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that Jude's ain't got that much natural ability, but in comparison to them, I look at them as more natural 10s. Someone that can just find the eye of a needle pass, in terms of the movement, the flair on the ball as well. It's a little bit more, it just looks better. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with Jude, it just looks like it looks heavy. Like I said earlier on Saeed's channel as well. Big up Saeed. I was like, bro, he looks a little bit heavy in that position. So for me, if you're not going to start Foden in that 10, please just bench him and again, bring him off the bench. Like Gordon, for me, that left wing, that left-hand side, is all Gordon's, bro. All Gordon's, bro. The whole time that Southgate has been successful, it's been with the likes of Rashford, the likes of Sterling. And now he's going away from that. You've got Saka, who, yes, was good in the first half. He was, running at his man, which is really good. But usually we know Saka to be inverting quite a lot. And on the other side, you have Phil Foden, who, again, like you've said, Jem, isn't comfortable there. So, again, this manager's not being brave enough. You've brought Anthony Gordon, who's a completely different profile to what you have in the team. Play him, bro. Because look at Bowen. Look at when Bowen came on. Bowen created our only big chance of the game. You know how crazy that is? And he came on in the second half.
Yeah. Gordon's different because he's direct.
It came in like the 70th minute. That's mad.
Yeah, I think with Gordon, I think he's like, this is why I said, if you're not going to play with an actual left back and you're going to stick with Trippier, then you need to play with someone off the left that's direct, that's able to take on a player and kind of just carry himself out there, if that makes sense, where he can attack space. And you need a bit of speed behind that. I actually think Eze would do quite a good job out there, personally, because he's got the trickery and the ability to get in and around and like get around players comfortably on his own. He doesn't need to always have someone running him away from him. If he's on his own, he'll do something. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what you do with Gordon as well. But like, it definitely can't be Foden trying to do that because it's just not his game. Do you know what I mean? So
no,
100%.
And what did you think of Saka's performance actually in the first half specifically?
Ain't nothing new. That's normal. It's normal behavior. No, but in all honesty, yeah, like, you know me as well, like, I love Saka in it. Just obviously that's my boy, Hell End, Saka, star boy. But Saka does give us them type of performances where he might be explosive in the first half and he might go missing. But first half, he's unplayable, and I feel like that's the reason why. Obviously, there was a lot of shouts saying like Palmer should start, and don't get it twisted, Cole Palmer is a top player. But I think if you're looking for an out-and-out winger, Saka has to start. And then just going back to what you were saying, Jem, sorry, in terms of like Southgate and an out-and-out winger on the left, I don't get why Southgate's trying to be so technical and tactical. A, he's not a great manager anyway, and B, it's international football. So why don't you just have a striker and two wingers that want to run for the whole 90 minutes rather than having this left wing that wants to come in and play? Bro, you're not training 3 days a week for like the last 6 months where you can do them tactics. You ain't got the, like, you do have the players, but they don't perform like that. So for me, I would just have a striker up top, Saka out there, Gordon out there. I would have brung Rashford, because Rashford for Man United he's been trash, but for England he steps up. The same way Maguire for Man United he's been trash, but for England he steps up. So that's what I just don't really get, why Southgate don't just go with two normal wingers, 3 centre midfielders, almost like a FIFA tactic where you're just trying to beat the opposition, because on paper there's no team better than England. So the way I play football, if I've got 11 man on the pitch and we're better than every single man we're playing, bro, we ain't need to do no tactical play, bro. Let's just play that straight 4-3-3 and beat the opposition. But I feel like Southgate's trying to be too tactical, and he's not a great manager like that to even be able to be tactical. So that's why I feel like the fault is. But yeah, man, Saka first half great, second half trash, but
held off. Yeah,
trash, man. And worked out.
Facts. And Jem, that second half, bro, what do you put that second half down to, man? Because how I kind of look at it, in my opinion, is it kind of just looks like the mentality of the manager, bro. Because for me, with Southgate, it's so parallel to what I've seen with Poch. You know, the mentality starts from upstairs. You know, with Potter as well, where like the team starts to take shape of the manager. I'm looking at all of these guys, that ball out, that Declan Rice for Arsenal, you know, Saka for Arsenal. I'm seeing all these guys on the pitch, and they literally just look like they just can't be bothered anymore. It's like, okay, we're winning 1-0, but yeah, we've got this wrapped up and we're going to win regardless. They're just sitting back now. It's just negative football, you know? I wasn't really seeing what I was seeing in the first half. It's kind of like we sat back, and like Ash said earlier on in the stream, it's like they kind of worked us out, but there wasn't any game management to get us out of that situation. He brings on Gallagher. Who was just hurting everyone, you know, which was crazy to me to even bring him on. I'm sorry, like he didn't really play well in my opinion. He kept losing the ball. His touch was off. He kept fouling people, like I've said. Bowen, I thought, was a good change. He kind of changed the game on that side, to be fair. But what do you think that second half performance was down to, bro, in your opinion?
Serbia up in their game and like you guys said, working us out. Secondly, the big one for me was that when we tried to get out, it wasn't sticking up the top. That fluidity between them had gone. He had to change the whole. For me, he had to change the whole attack. Needed fresh legs. We needed something different. We needed someone to be able to make runs in behind with a bit of speed. You couldn't knock the ball down the left over the top because Foden hasn't got the speed to get him behind. Saka was having to drop deeper and deeper because every time he received them. Because if you watch just a lot yesterday, we were playing hella down the right. And we stopped it. And in the first half, it looked very good. You know, Walker was overlapping, etc., and it was working. But like you said, they kind of worked that out. They realized that we weren't that confident down the left and that it was down the right. And there were just a lot more numbers in and around that area. It made it harder for Saka to try and turn and run at people and stuff. So for me, he needed to change the attack to a degree to give us something a little bit different. And I think Trent was a bit of an issue in the second half, personally. And I know they all dropped off, but he just kind of like what he's good at doing just kind of just weared off, and then he just kind of just become a spectator because he isn't the kind of player that can just get stuck in and do a bit of work for the team. It was actually, I felt a little bit sorry for Declan Rice in the second half because he just threaded around like a nutter on his own. I'm trying to cover the spaces,
everything.
He was everywhere. Not going to lie, the guy was at some points he was even centre back covering the spaces because we were getting pulled wide and stuff. Like, you know, like he was having to read the game very well. And I've got to take my hats off to him. Declan Rice had a good game yesterday. Out of all the players, I thought he had a very good game yesterday for us. I just felt that the manager let them down because they needed something different and it wasn't working going forward. It wasn't sticking, and it falls down to him again because he sits there. You've got all that talent on the bench, all them, but you know, you can change things by just throwing an Ivan Toney or a Watkins on because they're completely different strikers in their own way. You know, one's a bit more physical. They're both physical. The other one can run in behind. The other one will hold the ball up better, which means it will probably give them more of a problem and it will stick. And a lot of the times, every time we kicked the ball forward to Kane, there were some times where he won the ball and it stuck to him quite well. And others, he was just getting thrown on the floor, literally. And we were just losing control of the game. And it's like you're going back to Pickford, and Pickford's just hoofing the ball up the pitch. There's no one there other than Kane, and it's just not working. So
good, exactly. You're spawn gem, and Ashley, do you actually think that Watkins and Tony are even going to get trusted like that?
Tony, nah. Watkins, I think that he's definitely going to get... I feel like in the third game, Watkins might even start. Like, I feel like England might win the second game. And then they're through, right? As long as they win their next game, right? They'll be through.
Yeah.
I think even if they draw, they're through. But if they win, they're like guaranteed through. So I feel like we'll see Watkins. But sorry, just going back to just what you was just saying, just about like the first and the second half performance. And I think it's exactly what I was saying in terms of like Southgate is not a great manager. I feel like because he's trying to be so tactical in terms of playing like this Foden in the middle and not trying to have an out-and-out winger, teams clock on to what's going on. But good managers have 2 or 3 ways of playing in 90 minutes. So a good manager, once the opposition realizes, they'll switch formation. And you see it in Premier League football all the time. All right, they've clocked that we're playing a 4-3-3 and Saka's doing this and Arteta might change it or Klopp might change it. But Southgate is just sitting there and he's still trying to do the same thing from minute 1 that he's trying to do in minute 80. And he hasn't realized that the opposition have realized what you're trying to do. And that's where I think that...
I also don't think he's got the balls, Ash. Like I actually think he looks at there's so many big names on there that have had good like Foden and Bellingham there, and I think he's sometimes scared just to take them off. And that sounds stupid, but he just like I have to leave him on. You know what I mean? True. And that's what's going to burn him. It's going to burn him. It's going to burn.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said to you earlier, Jem. Like there's a lack of tactics, so it's literally just waiting for a moment. That's all he's waiting for. I know international football at times you do need your players to step up and have moments in them, yeah. But not at this stage, bro. Not against Serbia. I'm sorry, bro. Not against Serbia, where you're depending on moments. That's where I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, this is clearly foreshadowing what's going to happen in this tournament because we've seen it. We've never seen England win anything. We're just nearly men. You know, even we got to the final last time, we couldn't even win that, which is mad. You know what I'm saying? But Jem, what would you do on Thursday, bro? What lineup would you go with, yeah, to make sure that we actually get the job done and play well, man?
Play a left. If you're going to play Trippier again, because we haven't got any left backs that are fit, then play a winger that is actually a winger. Someone that's direct and is going to run at people and get in behind. Because I think it's Denmark, isn't it, next on Thursday? I think we got, Denmark are going to be...
Let me check.
Defensively, Denmark. Yeah. I know they conceded that, like, defective goal, but Denmark defensively, like, all right, Christensen's got a bit of speed, but Vestergaard is slow as hell. Like, that guy is slow. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to be using players that have got a bit of speed, that can run in behind, stretch them. They'll play a back 3, sometimes go into a back 5. So you're gonna need your wingers to hold width, right? So I would go with either like a Gordon or an Eze on the left. And even if you don't want to play them and Palmer's ahead of them, put Palmer on the left. I'm not even joking. Like, just do something a little bit different in my opinion. I think it's better than Foden on the left, but I still don't have Foden on the left. He's played on the left. He's played on the left. I know on the left against us. Absolutely puts us. That was
up against Azpilicueta, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
On his last legs. Yeah, I know he cooked that game, and yes, I think he's better on the left than Foden, but I still don't like him on the left. Like, I prefer him or play him on the right.
Just don't play Foden there. At least with Palmer, I just think he's got this way about him where he can skip past the player a little bit and like create space for himself and find that pass. I don't think Foden can do it that much. Foden's better with the ball at his feet, carrying it, and then like linking the play 1-2s and running into the space, and then you know what I mean. And the rest is history. Or rather take a shot or whatever. Like, so listen, I'd go personally. If you want my opinion, I know you guys are screening for Gordon because he had a good game against Iceland. I want to see Eze on the left. That's my guy. I want to see Eze playing on the left with Kane up front, Saka on the right, and I think Bellingham will play in the 10, which means you're going to have to drop Foden. He's going to have to be dropped, in my opinion. And then,
so who'd you play in that pivot then, Jim?
Well, he's going to play Trent and Rice. That's for sure. Like, he's not going to change that.
No, but I'm asking what you would do. I'm asking what you would do. So you drop.
If it was me, again, I don't know if you would like this. I would play Bellingham next to Rice personally, and I would play an actual 10, Foden. There you go, or Palmer, whoever. Like, put an actual 10 in the game because I don't feel like you always need to have two like central, like, because you watch Bellingham and like even in the second half, first half as well. Some of his positions, he was the deepest player in the midfield. Like he was covering space, winning balls, getting stuck in. Like he's got that to his game even more than someone like a Trent who can't do that. So take Trent out, play Walker or Trent on the right. Yeah, fine. Play Bellingham and Rice, but Rice is the deeper one. Let Bellingham play in that 8 role so he can be up and down a little bit more. Put Foden or whoever you want in the 10. Yeah, stick Eze on the left, put Saka on the right, and play Kane up front and play. That's how you're going to play good football, in my opinion.
Facts. And Ash, what about you, bro? Is that a similar sort of team that you'd go with?
Yeah, I can't lie, Jem. I'm with you on this one. You know what? I would sacrifice Bellingham's 10 role, and I would play Bellingham and Rice. But again, like I said, you need a manager that is going to install that strictness because Bellingham, like you said, he likes to be all over the place, but he's got to almost play in that pivot with Rice and let a Foden or a Palmer do that job. But again, the winger, I feel like we got to have, like I said, this is international football, man. It's not like Champions League where you're playing against teams that are training week in, week out, and they know the tactics at the back of their hand. This is international football where guys link up every 6 months for a little summer holiday and do little tactics and just have fun. And I feel like we've got to go with Gordon on the wing.
Facts.
I do like Eze. Don't get it twisted. Eze is sick. He's jinky majinky. He can affect things. But yeah, I feel like the way that England's team is set up, I think that with Saka on the right, Kane up top, I think we got to go with Gordon. We got to be brave. We got to be explosive. We got to believe. We got to be arrogant in our tactics and understand that we are better than everyone we're going to play against. So it doesn't really matter about the tactics that you lot deploy because we're going to have the ball and we have players to be able to find our right wingers, our left wingers, and we got Harry Kane up top. So why do we care about what you're doing when we have the best players in the world? And that's what confuses me.
And that's spot on. I'm so glad you said that because that's something that I used to speak about with Poch all the time. He thinks about the opposition way too much. Think about how you can get the best out of your team. And you're so right when you say with Gordon as well, yeah, like we need to be explosive. We need to be brave. And that's something that he is. He loves to take it wide, bro. We need to stretch the pitch because some teams are going to sit back at certain points because they're going to be like, yo, England don't create nothing. You know what I mean? If he's stretching the pitch, yeah, he's creating problems on that side. You know what I mean? So, bro, I want to see Gordon start as well. I'll basically go with the same lineup as you guys. The only concern that I've got with Bellingham in that pivot is how disciplined is he going to be? You know, is he going to be erratic like a Gallagher? Is he going to be just running off and leaving Rice? So now when we lose the ball in the final third, in the final phase, you know, the transition, how peak is it going to be? But then Declan Rice at the same time, he's quite good at covering, you know, lots of space and lots of ground. So hopefully he'll be able to handle it by himself because we need to be able to attack and kill teams. That's the main thing. If you've got Jude and Foden making those late runs together, a lot of teams are going to be pinned back. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of look at it, man. But we need to make sure that we go into Thursday a lot more positive than what we did. But unfortunately, the team's taken shape of the manager, man.
Yeah, you talk about having options though, but at least that gives you like an option B or an option A. Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have any option. At least, all right, you kind of just drop Bellingham deep and you just put a 10 in, which makes us more creative because then like, the wingers will be more involved, I feel, because once that 10 receives the ball, i.e. Foden and Palmer, what they're very good at doing is beating a man and just playing the ball through quickly into the space. And I just don't think Bellingham's actually quite good on the ball. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, you see him on the ball, you know, he's shimmying and this, that, and the other. But I just think, don't forget, even at Dortmund, he played as an 8 anyway. So effectively, he knows how to play. It's not like you're asking him to do something that he's never done before. Like, he can play that role. He just needs to be a little bit more smarter about the instruction. Like, I agree.
No, facts. Facts, man, facts. But listen, people, we're gonna wrap it up there, man. We're gonna go watch the France game. But yeah, I enjoyed that, man. I enjoyed that. We're gonna have something similar on Friday as well. So I'll probably get the same panel back, to be fair. Just chop it up and see if Gareth has decided to go with what we went with, man. But Ash, love for coming on, my bro. Strong debut.
Come on, man.
Again,
Love for having me, man. Always, broski, man.
Nah, no stress, my bro, man. Listen, you're gonna be seeing Ash more on the channel. Obviously, when the season starts as well, you're gonna be seeing him on there. But yeah, let them know where they can find you, my bro.
Yeah, so Twitter, YouTube, TikTok is all the same. Ashsy Tizzy, spelled ASHCTIZZY. Yeah, man, I'm just loading up, man, slowly loading. I got a few videos on TikTok at the moment, but I'm just loading up with the YouTube. So yeah, man, big up Jem as well. Don, big up yourself for having me, man. It's a pleasure. So yeah, man.
No stress, my bro. No stress, man. And Jem, as always, where they can find you, my bro.
Yeah, GNA TV. We're on the road to 10K on YouTube. Chelsea Fan TV as well. We're on the road to 250K over there. Lots going on. So yeah, give us a follow and make sure you smash the like, guys, here and subscribe as well.
Smash that one. Subscribe as well.
2K. 2K.
Make sure that you're liking the video, people. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, road to 2K. There should be a video out tomorrow, which is more on Chelsea and whatnot. I think it's going to be more pre-recorded, man, because at the minute, we're not really getting much news, man. No movement on Duran, no movement really on Olise. You know, it's kind of just stagnated at the minute. So I'm going to release a little something tomorrow and just talk to you guys solo, man. But listen, people, up the Chelsea every time. Southgate out, man. Love.